Hey everyone. So as you know, or may not know, if you didn't know, I won the last stripped competition with Glitter Craze. And I have been advised that I need to compete until I lose, and the next installment is beginning today. So I am about to open my box to see what it is I have to use and what it is. I think they're actually having us make something specific. Well, let's just open the box and see, shall we? Okay, so here's the box. I have no idea what's in here. All right. Oof. It's not easy to do this with one hand. Okay, 20-ounce skinny tumbler. I can handle that. There's the straw. Okay, vinyl. Interesting. Let's see. Hold on. I need to pause to open this bag. One sec. Oh shit. I may have peeked. Oh man. Oh boy. All right. I see a keychain. Ooh, I like that foil. Okay, so I've got foil. Oh, I've got some glitter. Whoops, sorry, I've got some glitter. Ooh, this is fun. A cute little pom-pom. Couple of bubble beads and an acrylic. Oh, I didn't see this one. That's pretty. And an acrylic blank. So a keychain, a tumbler, and a keychain using these products. Oh boy, I've got some thinking to do. All right, well, I did some thinking and I decided that I was going to create a design similar to the design I have done in the past that I learned from lovely Lulu Designs. I will post her video to a damask or damask, however you'd like to pronounce it, tutorial that she does that I love and have done more than once. One of these days I'll post a video of me following that tutorial. But I decided to use some techniques that I learned from her, and with a slight variation. Instead of using one of her damask patterns, I'm going to use the vinyl here on the top part of the cup, which is why I didn't spray paint the top part, because I knew it was going to be covered with vinyl. So I'm adding the vinyl to the top, and I'm going to add a strip of the second glitter I showed at the beginning around the center as a band, and the bottom, well, you'll see what I'm going to do there. So what I do, I learned this technique from Miss Carrie Rack from the Vinyl Craze, a sister store to the Glitter Craze. To get that straight line so that you're making sure that your vinyl is on straight, hold your cup up to a door jamb. One of these days maybe I'll show how she does it. It's not easy to film, so that's why it's not on here, but I hold my cup up to a door jamb, and I take a pencil and I just run the pencil down the side, and therefore I end up with a straight line, assuming my house is straight and the door jamb is straight. It ensures a straight line going down your tumbler every time. And right now I'm just trying to straighten it out a little bit. When I applied it, it didn't match up. The pattern didn't match up as well as I had hoped it would. So I'm just trying to get the tufting on the vinyl to line up as best I can. I end up trimming the excess right here, and I trimmed a little too much and end up showing some of the stainless steel. So luckily, as you just saw, the vinyl is very stretchy, so I am able to again pull it back and stretch it a bit to hide that stainless steel that's covering that's showing through. Unfortunately, what I don't show you is that I end up cutting a strip of vinyl to cover this seam because I just wasn't happy with how this came out in the end. So I do take some of my leftover vinyl and I cut some and placed it down that seam just to make it look a bit cleaner. It did look cleaner. There was no making it perfect, but it ended up looking as good as I could get it to look. And now it's time to apply the glitter. So what I decided to do was take this Chanel glitter and apply each little Chanel logo into the center tufting of the vinyl. Showing you all the items that I'm using. I've got my Tack It Over and Over. I use that undiluted. I've got a pair of tweezers. I've got my little paintbrush to apply the tacket. I had my reading glasses because the vinyl is tiny and I wanted to make sure I got it on there as perfect as I could. And my coffee because I'm sure I'm going to be needing it to get through this process. So right now I'm just applying the tacket, again undiluted, to the center of each little tufting pattern on the vinyl. I do several because with tacket you're supposed to let it dry, but by the end I decided that I preferred it when it was still wet because I was able to adjust the glitter a lot easier. Like if I didn't place it perfect the first time, which I don't think I did once, it was so much easier to reposition the glitter when the tacket glue was still a little wet. So that's what I would recommend, or just use Mod Podge if that's your preferred glue of choice. You could also use that. I just decided to use the tacket because I prefer it. And here we go. So let's start off with a sip of coffee to get through this. Now pay very close attention here, people. This happened more than once. I still don't know where that piece of glitter went, but I was finding it all over the place. So here I am, just going through and applying those little decals all over the vinyl. Okay, now that all of that has been applied and dried, I spray sealed it several times. I also took some quick coat and applied that over the top of all that glitter just to make sure it stayed in place. And now I'm measuring out for where I want my glitter band. So I decided 1.5 inches was a good size for the glitter band and leaves me enough room for the design on the bottom. So I just measured out different spots 1.5 inches around, and I'm just going to apply my tape, lining it up with those little marks that I just made on my cup. And I'm going to tape off the vinyl as well. And once that's all applied, I will take a tiny bit of epoxy that I have left over from another cup, and I'm going to apply it around that center band and add the glitter, the second glitter that I showed at the very beginning, and you will see again in a minute. I will apply that around the center and let that dry. So I'll make sure the tape is down really well. Here is the glitter that I'm going to use around this center band. And I'm going to apply my epoxy. I have the little finger cots. They are um, nitrile, just like the gloves that I use. And as you can see, I have just a teeny tiny bit of epoxy left over from a previous cup, and I'm just going to apply that around the center, spreading it out as evenly as I can, and then I'll apply my glitter. I will then remove the tape and let the glitter dry. It doesn't need to spin because it's such a tiny amount of glitter such a tiny amount of epoxy that I am applying here that it's not going to move. I think I might have put it on my turner just to get it out of the way, but I don't think I turned the turner on. So here I'm ripping off a little piece of the wax paper that I had underneath the glitter, and I'm just pressing it down because this glitter is a little chunky. I just wanted to make sure it was on there as flat as possible so I don't have to add a bunch of epoxy after to smooth this out. So that's just me patting down the glitter, trying to get it as flat as possible. And now I'm just wiping away any of that excess glitter before I remove my tape. I love removing the tape and seeing that perfect line underneath. It always looks so messy because you get glitter and epoxy all over your tape, but gosh, once you remove it and you see that perfect line, what a feeling of satisfaction. Now for the fun part, the bottom design. So here's all the mica powder that I'm using. I started to use the white and then changed my mind and went with Heaven Sent from Glitter Craze, of course. So I'm using Heaven Sent mica powder, black mica powder, and fuchsia mica powder. The black and fuchsia are from, I'm not sure where, someplace on Amazon I got them. I can look it up and post it below. You get a ton of mica powder in these little bags, and a little goes a long way, as you'll see. So I'm going to mix epoxy with all of these mica powders, and I'm also going to mix in the glitter from the band we just did, and we'll design the bottom part. I love doing this technique. I can't even tell you. I'm so happy Mary Lou from Lulu Designs, lovely Lulu Designs, taught me how to do this because it is so much fun. You have to try it if you haven't done it yet. So this time I'm going to use Tumblerpoxy A and B to do this design because I want to make sure I have enough working time. I love using Glitter Craze's quick set, but again, because I want to make sure I have enough time to work on this design, I don't want my epoxy to set too fast. So for my final coats and for doing things such as this, I love to use my Tumblerpoxy. I will post a link to them below as well. This is their old version of Tumblerpoxy. I bought a 2-gallon kit, and because you don't need a whole lot of it, I still have a lot. I'm dying to try their Tumblerpoxy 2.0, but I don't have a need for it right now, and epoxy is expensive, so I have not yet bought their 2.0, but I'm not even sure what the 2.0 is, but you know I'm gonna try it when I need it. So in any case, that's what I'm doing now. I'm mixing up parts A and B of Tumblerpoxy. I will pour a little bit of that mixture into each of these cups, and I will mix in all of the mica powder and glitter into that epoxy. Some of it I will leave aside, unmixed with anything, and as you'll see, I will apply that first to the bottom part of my cup. I'm going to tape off the glitter band that we just did to make sure I don't get any of this design up into that glitter band. So the tape is just to protect the glitter band after sealing it. And yeah, so I'll apply plain epoxy first to the bottom portion of the tumbler, and then I will go ahead and use all of these mixtures, and you'll see that in a second. Okay, I've finally finished mixing all of the epoxy, and now I'm just adding a teeny tiny bit into each of these cups, and I'll mix it all together. I think I misspoke earlier. I said I was going to apply plain epoxy, excuse me, to the bottom part, but I actually used the Heaven Sent mica powder mixture on the bottom part of this tumbler. So the epoxy that I'm applying right now is the mixture that I made with the Heaven Sent mica powder. I'm going to apply a little bit of heat with my heat torch just to make sure there aren't any bubbles. And then we will move ahead with all the other mica powders. Just use my gloved finger and dip it into each one of the different mixtures that I made. Not together. I'll start with the fuchsia, then I will use the black, And you'll see what I do just with a gloved finger, and it's a lot of fun. Kind of like finger painting. And I'm so sorry that the bottom portion of this is cut off. I didn't realize that you couldn't see what I was doing, but I am getting the bottom part of the tumbler as well. Um, Again, sorry that that didn't get caught on camera. So I failed to show that right after I finished that bottom part, I removed the tape from around the glitter because I don't want it to adhere to the cup with the epoxy. You know, you'll never get that off well, you'll get it off, but it'll be a heck of a struggle. So you want to remove the tape from the glitter portion right after you've finished your design on the bottom. Now here, I need to preface all of this by saying this was part of a competition. And typically, I would not be applying this vinyl at this point. And what you can't tell is that it's only a couple of hours after I finished that bottom piece. And my cup was still tacky to the touch. And you can actually see it kind of sticks to the wax paper a little bit. But again, this was part of a competition and I had a very limited amount of time to work on this, and this was due the next day. And mind you, it is probably 11 o'clock at night, the night before that this cup is due for me to take pictures and enter into the competition. So I'm rushing here. This is sped up. I'm not going that fast, but I do have some problems, and I do believe you'll see that the top part of this, it's not going to work out for me very well, and this would not have happened if I didn't have to hurry up and get this done. So this is part of the reason why it takes so long to make a cup. For those who don't make cups and don't realize the amount of time that it takes, it's not necessarily labor time. It's drying time and trying to be patient while you wait for things to cure so that you can move on to the next step of your design. The one thing that worked in my favor was with this foil. Typically, you need to use like a tack it over and over to apply your foil. Because my epoxy was still so tacky, I was actually able to apply my foil right straight to the cup without having to apply any glue first. So that worked out in my favor. But here you'll see, excuse me, I am not happy. The vinyl at the top is going to lift. That whole band is going to lift on me, and I cannot get it to stick back down. In the end, you'll see I decide to just remove it. I go to bed and I just let it spin. I had to go to bed. Figure I'll let it dry while I'm sleeping, and here you'll see that's me trying to go down, tap down. It wasn't going to work. So here I am now trying to remove all that vinyl that I just applied. Only the top part. The bottom part I didn't remove. I probably should have because it was kind of sloppy. Not nearly as perfect as I prefer. So anyway, here I am removing it. I'm going to have to apply more epoxy where I just removed all of that. There's a big, you can see that gap right there because it lifted. It was a disaster. I was really upset. You know, this is the night before I have to enter this into the competition, so I was kind of freaking out a little bit, but gotta remain calm. It's only a competition. It was just for fun. It still came out really good. So this is the next morning. I am now replacing the vinyl to the top. It is much more dry than it was the night before, so I'm able to take my time and apply it perfectly. So it looks so much better than it did. I'm cleaning up the top rim, and I'm going to apply my final coat of epoxy. And that's it. Here's the cup. Just before I apply my final coat of epoxy, I used Quick Set so that I could have it completed in time for me to take photos and enter it into the competition. Making sure that it's down good before I apply that final coat, running my finger along, trying to make sure it's sealed really well. And here is the final cup. I made the keychain to go along with it. I did not film that. It's basically the exact same thing I did with the cup. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you later.